one of the most insightful observations that I actually heard about this whole affair, which came from, believe it or not, Ed Ferrara, who was one of the Vince Russo's writing partner, essentially, in the WWF, but also when Vince Russo came over to WCW. And Ed Ferrara said once, he said it was almost like clockwork. You could set your watch to it. Essentially, every 3 months for the last 18 months of WCW being around, there was this huge upheaval, this huge reset, where for a while there was a sense of optimism that this could be what it takes to turn us around. And ultimately, it never happened. And I'll just run through those real quick for you. So,
Sure.
October 99, Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara come in, right? October 99, and it's the powers that be, it's the new creative regime. These guys that, the feeling was really instrumental in helping the WWF turn the tables on WCW. But then 3 months after that, January of 2000, Vince Russo is gone home. There's a booking committee in place. Kevin Sullivan's running that committee. Of course, this was the time in which the Radicals, as they became known, Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and that whole group, left WCW, which really decimated the mid card. So that was a huge change in January of 2000. Well, now we fast forward 3 months to April of 2000, and all of a sudden that's all out the window now. Eric Bischoff is back, Vince Russo is back. It's the dream team creatively, and as you mentioned, they have this crazy episode of Nitro where they literally tell the audience, forget what you've been seeing for the last 3 months. We're stripping all the belts. This is a total reset, right? Well, 3 months after that, now we're at Bash at the Beach 2000, July, and this is the famous or infamous Hogan and Jeff Jarrett match, which was recently covered on Dark Side of the Ring last year. And of course, that leads to Hogan leaving the company. Eric Bischoff goes away for a while at this point. Now we've moved forward another 3 months. It's October 2000. Vince Russo is now out. And so there's a whole different creative regime and another huge, massive shakeup going on. This is when you start having the initial rumors and talk that WCW now is actually going to be sold, right? It really sort of kicked into high gear sort of, the last quarter of 2000. 3 months after that, January of 2001, Eric Bischoff looks like he's purchased the company. So now we're told Fusion Media Ventures is here. All of this uncertainty has been put to rest. There's no more ambiguity about WCW. This is the real reset now. This is where we're going to, turn things around, and it's going to take a while, but we're ultimately going to be the number one company again. Well, almost 3 months after that, we get to March 26, 2001. It's the final episode of Nitro. Vince McMahon has bought the company, and WCW is sold and closes its doors. So when you take in all of that, it's difficult to imagine a scenario in which you could have established any kind of continuity, or you could have established any sort of pervasive feeling that let's stick to the plan. Let's not try to turn this around in 1 week, which obviously WCW became infamous for. Let's not just throw everything at the audience in a desperate attempt to get back the audience. Let's commit to this, and it's going to take us a while, but in time, we could be back on top. How could you possibly make that argument or develop that sentiment when every 3 months you're having these massive changes? Because naturally, if you're in that position working for the company, you're probably thinking, all right, this is what these guys want to do this week, but I know, give it another 10, 12 weeks and there's going to be some huge change. So I guess we'll just roll with it, right?
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable how many different directions the company went in those last 18 months. I mean, you could almost write a book just about those 18 months, and maybe one day someone will.